Hi, this is Ohad from ThinkUp. In the following video, I would like to show you how to build your startup more professionally. Remember, most startups fail, and we would like to increase your chances of success. Building your startup more professionally means clearly defining your problem and making sure it's real, presenting your planned solution to your target audience and making sure you get positive feedback, making sure your market is big enough, and making sure you have something truly unique. We want to make sure that you're on the right path to product market fit, you have a big opportunity lying ahead of you, and you have good chances of long-term success. We will be showcasing this on our platform, which is an AI-powered SaaS solution that leverages best practices and proven methodologies from the startup ecosystem. It guides you step by step to build your startup more professionally and more effectively. Our platform is built out of modules, or steps as we like to call them, where each step addresses a different topic. Upon onboarding, our solution uses your problem and solution definition in order to get to know you better. Then, when going through the various tasks, it references the most relevant LLM to provide suggestions. Let's go.
Okay, so today's example draws inspiration from Standard Data, a young startup that believes it has identified a problem in the manufacturing domain where they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to integrate data. Standard Data would like to offer some automation using LLM. Let's start with the customer discovery process. Following the suggestions of our platform, we believe that the manufacturing manager and data analyst could be the users for the platform. Obviously, data analyst is the person in charge of working with data in the organization. This is going to be involved in the decision-making process. Chief Information Officer is obviously responsible for everything data related, maybe the IT director and the operation manager. Maybe some consultants could influence the decision-making process of buying this product. So all in all, we've got around 6 personas, and we mapped, which is probably the main persona, the manufacturing manager. Main needs are to automate data integration and, more broadly speaking, streamline production processes. We can see that the pains are in terms of data errors, and of course everything related to time is a problem, and legacy systems sometimes are complex to work with. So that's it in terms of customer discovery. Let's move on to market overview. Okay, moving on to market overview. So we're going to start by analyzing the TAM and CAGR from a top-down analysis. The platform offers us a few relevant market reports around the global data integration market. Considered market size is roughly between $20 to $30 billion. However, it covers lots of different segments, and we have to choose the exact one that fits our own startup, which is manufacturing. Okay, that was the top down. Moving on to bottom up, just to make sure we've got the figures right. We're going to be using the number of client organizations as the unit of measure. And we reverted to ChatGPT, asked it how many manufacturers are in the US, believed to be 244,000 just in the US. Again, we reverted to the chat to simulate, to understand roughly how much we can charge for this product. So data integration solution can be sold for around $36,000 per year. That could bring us to a total market size of $9 billion just in the US. Now the CAGR, we can use the one from the top-down analysis. That could be great. This brings us to total market size of $20 billion in terms of top-down, bottom-up $9 billion. Again, this is just for the US market, so it could be much bigger, double or triple the size. And from the top-down analysis, we have to be sure that this refers to the manufacturing vertical, since data integration could relate to many more segments. That's it for the market overview. Let's move on to the user research. Okay, moving on to user research. We need to select a persona to interview. We've mapped the manufacturing manager, so we're gonna use that. As you can see, the platform generates for us the interview script, which we can update and adjust. We can then look for potential interviewees. We see that it's been a bit difficult for the platform to provide suggestions for meetup groups, probably since manufacturing managers don't hang out in meetup groups. We can then, I'm just sifting through the information pages with some explanations. And once we've interviewed a few people, we can upload their interview, the recording, and analyze it and validate the assumption that we've already made. This is out of the scope of this example, since we don't have any manufacturing managers to interview. Okay, that's it for the user research. Let's move on to product concept step. So first of all, we have to define the product statement, which is a foundation for building a strong product. This is a statement, okay, and the product is for manufacturing managers looking to automate data integration, product that integrates data automatically using LLM, as we said before. Remember, the platform offers us some suggestions in order to fill this in. Next, we have to go through the needs that we've identified before in customer discovery and rank them, score them according to the value. If we provide a solution for this need, is it important for that persona? Okay, in this case, the manufacturing manager. How much value will it provide to him, and is it aligned with the product statement? Okay, we want to stay focused. So rank the needs in terms of value and alignment. We then select the top needs and need to define what are the capabilities that we're going to provide for those needs. So in terms of automate data integration, for example, we're going to turn unstructured data into structured automatically. We're going to identify which data sources should be connected to relevant data consumers. These are just my own suggestions. I'm not sure what Standard Data is planning. So we're sifting through the various needs, finding capabilities to address those needs, and then we need to assess how good will we cover, to what extent will we cover those needs in our capabilities, and how likely are we to do that? Is there a risk? Is it difficult? Finally, we've got all the capabilities of the product categorized by personas, either by personas, or we could segment them by needs. Then we can move on to the value proposition statement. We would like to define all the value proposition that we provide for the various personas. Again, the platform helps us with various options. So we're looking at automating data integration to eliminate manual process, saving time and reducing costs. And we'd like to enhance decision making and optimize manufacturing operation, etc., etc. Got some of the previous work that we've done to help us find the value proposition. Moving on to the high-level product value that combines everything. So it's about automated data integration to eliminate manual processes, saving time and costs. Finally, there's the architecture. We obviously don't know the exact architecture of the product. We leave it for you, the entrepreneurs, to provide those. Okay, that's it for the product concept step. Let's move on to competitive analysis. Okay, so moving on to the competitive analysis step, using our platform, we've identified around 10 competitors, or at least players in the landscape. Some of them are companies that Standard Data actually want to integrate their data. So they're not probably just indirect competitors or just players in the landscape. We then take them to direct and indirect, since we're not domain experts, so this is probably incorrect. We then need to analyze each competitor, understand what are the needs that they are addressing for our personas, how well do they cover those needs, and then we can have a diagram to compare how well the Standard Data address the needs of its customers in relation to, in comparison to other players. We can also have a comparison table and understand where is the biggest advantage for us. Let's move on to identify the advantages. We need to craft the unique value proposition. The competitive edge probably lies within the experienced team. Since they're ex-Palantir employees, a big brand, and they worked in the industrial vertical, they know the customers, their pain points, and this could be medium hard to imitate. Okay, then we need to craft the competitive edge statement, which is around the experience of the team. And that's it. Let's move on finally to the product concept validation. Product concept validation module where we validate our assumptions. So we need to make some assumptions based on the previous work that we've done. We assume that we provide value that is needed. We need to validate that. We have some technical assumptions that we can develop our product. We need to validate that. And usability. We have to make sure that our potential customers will use our product. So I've gathered here a few assumptions, and then we need to rate them. The riskiest at the top in terms of the certainty, how certain am I about these assumptions, and what is the impact if I'm wrong. I need to validate the riskiest assumptions first. That's why we rate them. I'm going to validate them in our test, whether it's an interview or other method. Okay, so we've generated an interview step. You can generate other steps, other tests. Let's have a view, let's have a look at the setup. So these are the assumptions that we're going to test. This is the method that we're going to use, a storyboard. You can use other methods, and this is the persona we're going to target, the manufacturing manager. Next, the platform generates the basic interview script, which we can then adjust. Got some background, general questions, and some questions that are related to the assumptions validation. We can go out and find participants just like we've done before. We can also interview the people that we've interviewed previously in customer discovery. And then we have to gather the results and upload them and analyze them just like we've done on the customer discovery. So that's it for Standard Data. If you've got any questions or suggestions for other journeys that you would like us to create, please send them over and we'll be happy to do that for you. And remember, if you've got a great idea, sign up to a platform and start your own journey.